So, I've been having fun playing Marvel Rivals lately. Playing some Daredevil, and it had me thinking, we have 11 tanks, 23 Duelists, I think, and then 9 Strategists, which is kind of crazy considering Ultron was the newest one, and he kind of sucks now because of his new nerf. So, I opened up Photoshop and Krita and got to work designing some new characters. I was working on this concept for a while, but I finished most of the footage back in March, made some more concepts, made a whole Google Doc and everything, and then I hated how the art turned out, so I pretty much decided to start this project from scratch all over again. Stupid! So I want to give a shout out to Red Unit Inc. for being the main inspiration behind this project. It was his Gambit video that gave me the idea to do this. Also want to give credit to Off the Zenny for giving me the idea on how to restructure the video for the most part. So for this project I went in and I did 1 Duelist, 2 Strategists, and 2 Vanguards. So for Duelists, we already have a bunch, and I don't really want to overcrowd them with another dive character or nothing. My first idea is US Agent, John Walker. I didn't want him to be the exact same as Captain America or nothing, so I'm taking mainly inspiration from Thunderbolts and his other appearances in the MCU. The way you would play him would be kind of aggressive, but not so much dive, if that makes sense. You want to be a frontliner. Okay, so I would give him a pistol as a primary attack. It'd go as quickly as you can pull the trigger. So not exactly like Bruce's pistol, because Bruce has a fixed fire rate on his, but just imagine the faster you click, the faster the bullets come out. I don't know if is there a character like that? I actually don't think there is a character like that in the game currently. So a semi-automatic character, I should say, because every character is pretty much automatic, full auto, something like that. And at the same time, you could use his pistol and shield at the same time. So just think Cap's shield and you can fire a pistol at the same time. Just something like that is what I would do. He could also have a shield charge where it's a lot more like Bucky's uppercut, really. So yeah, just make it like Bucky's uppercut. It sends them up. It would charge forward, but it wouldn't it only sends them up if it lands, So I also want to give him a self boost as well. Maybe Mantis probably would be the best comparison. I think you give yourself a buff, you do more damage, your reload speed's faster, and it'd be CC immune for a good while. So give it a long cooldown, but it buffs your reload speed and your damage, makes you CC immune for a while. Yeah. And then lastly for his ult, I want to do something different than Cap's. So how with Cap's ultimate, he goes and he has the trail behind him that leaves the overshield effect behind you. Do something like that. But with US Agent Shield, he would just throw it and it would leave a trail instead, and that trail gives a damage boost rather than strictly
this motherfucker don't miss,
rather than just overshield the whole time, So yeah, that's my US Agent concept. Let me know what you think of it. Alright, so my next concept is actually going to be for Dazzler, which she has concepts and stuff. I've seen some art of her designed, but I don't really think I've seen anyone go crazy in depth with the moveset and whatnot. And I don't want her to just be a Luna Snow copycat. So the way I'm kind of seeing it is, imagine she's a lot more backline focused. Think Luna Snow meets sort of I want to say Loki kind of. So imagine she has an ability where she can put a spotlight down, and if you're standing in that area, it'll heal you. It won't make you invincible, but it'll heal in a radius. So she'll set up something, maybe a microphone or a spotlight or something, and in that area, it would heal. Around this whole radius, it would heal something. For her primary, you can either go the route of your primary heals and damages, or your primary just damages. So you could heal your allies and damage enemies at the same time. I think we need more stuff like that, to be honest. That's probably what I would do. I would do a primary that heals and heals allies and damages enemies. Dazzler would have this sort of area of effect around her. She'd sing a song or something, and it would heal everyone in the radius, but at the same time, she can't move. So she'd be stationary, and she has this healing circle around her, is what I would do for another ability. And then for her ultimate, here's what I would do actually. What she would do is she'd do something like a summoning stand that Adam does, and then the effect is it gives speed boost and like healing over time. It's more so like Rocket's ult, if that makes sense. Like Rocket mixed with Adam's ult is what I would do. So she'd put down like a little song thing, and it would buff everyone in a radius, you know? So it'd like have a big circle of effect, and it would last for a couple seconds. Give everyone health, maybe a speed boost as well. We really just need more ults that give like damage boost, speed boost, stuff like that. But yeah, that's my Dazzler concept idea. I was also thinking, since we already have a lot of mutants in the game and stuff, I went with Jubilee as another strategist. So imagine with Jubilee, like her primary would be like Magneto's. It's the best comparison. It'll travel forward, then explode. Probably bigger explosion, maybe a little less range. It could also do like the same like heal and damage type is what I would do. I'd also give her like an alternate fire as well. Like she'd have a spray and it'd just be like one of those sparkler candles, if you know what I'm talking about. But it wouldn't damage enemies. Or it'd be like about this close maybe. It'd have a range of about 5 meters and do like not the best damage. You know, I got the perfect comparison actually. Think like Ultron's beam right here, where it heals and does damage, but the damage is like, it's barely offensive, honestly. Oh, that was his healing?
That's it?
Why did they nerf him again? But yeah, anyway. But yeah, what I would do next could be like a movement type of ability. Or think like she has a little explosion, she knocks herself upward or in any direction she's going. It could just go backwards, maybe like 2 charges or something. A hit that sends backwards. Pretty much every strategist has some form of defending themselves from attackers. Yep, definitely every strategist. For her next ability, I would do like a sparking disc, but think like a disc that'll pierce through enemies. Imagine this, but like it does damage, and it's not a portal, obviously, but it would like spark with the same effect and just keep doing damage over time. Bounce off the walls like 3 times or something. Yeah, that's what I would do. So for her ultimate, it's kind of what I just said for Dazzler already. Okay, so think like Adam. So it'll have like it'll do a big burst, give everyone overshield, like a huge amount, and then that'll like kind of whittle away over time. And it will obviously still have like the healing effect and whatnot. But yeah, that's what I would do for Jubilee. So for tanks, I'm thinking like the obvious one has to be Thanos, right? He's like probably the best candidate to be a tank. And plus we need more tanks and we need more villains. I think that's like the big thing that Rivals would probably need. More tanks, more supports, and just more villains overall. And everyone knows who Thanos is. Like everyone would immediately recognize him. Plus it incentivizes people to play tank more often, you know? So I actually did an entire full moveset like for Thanos. And how it would work is, you know how Thor has like these little things on the screen right here? So Thanos would have like 6 of these little icons on his screen. If you play Thor or Scarlet Witch or yeah, any character with those little icons in the middle, it's exactly like that. So like you use one and it will slowly regenerate over time. Maybe it should be like Daredevil's where it actually doesn't recover on its own and you have to actually land hits to get it back. So his primary, pretty simple. I would just do like the basic punch where it just has like the punches. You know, he just kind of punches and stuff. And then for his alternate fire, like a laser, like the Power Stone. He uses the Power Stone laser. So think like Emma Frost. Yeah, when I was designing his moveset actually, Emma Frost had come out, so it was just gonna be like laser gets stronger the more damage you do or something. It wouldn't use like any of the charges, but it'd have ammo, like Emma Frost has ammo. His next ability would use the Soul Stone and the Space Stone, and what he would pretty much do is absorb all incoming damage. So I would do it like a mini Magneto ult, where it just absorbs stuff, and it will convert it into like shields for nearby allies. So, but it can't absorb like beams or ultimates or anything, and that'd make Magneto more unique because only his stuff can actually block ultimates. Another ability I wanted to do, like a buff to nearby allies. Imagine like you're Thanos, you're running in, you got your team around you. So like you hit the button, like you do the buff, you affect all your teammates. They could have increased movement speed, increased fire rate could be an interesting one. And the duration would actually increase depending on how many allies are buffed. But it would consume one of like the charges per ally buffed. So if your whole team was around you, that's 6 pretty much. But if you have like 5, it would prioritize your teammates first. And if you were alone, you'd only get just the movement buff. So it's definitely better to use with your team, like a souped up soul bond. Alright, so his next move is probably one of my favorites that I came up with. So this move is called Cosmic Exile. It would basically stun like Hulks, but the difference is that it'll ignore all CC immunity. So imagine you have a Luna Snow ulting. You could still hit her with that beam and stop the ultimate. Like, you could freeze her mid-ult and stop her from healing the team, or shut down like Emma Frost in her diamond form. Now obviously, to balance it, like for balancing's sake, it probably have like a super long cooldown. Probably take about 3 stone charges or so. That's how I would do it. Give it like 3 stone charges. Make it cost 3 stone charges. Maybe 4, maybe more than that. Have like it only active for a few frames maybe. So like you would fire it. Even if you miss, that's like maybe like a 40-second cooldown or something. Like 45 seconds. Just because it's so powerful, you know? Like you shut down an ultimate like mid-ult. That would be kind of crazy. It's like you're using the Infinity Stone, so you want to use them to their full potential. For his ultimate, I feel like the snap is the obvious answer, but I'm gonna do it slightly different. So I'd call it like the inevitable end or something, just to match like the naming scheme and whatnot. You'd power up, you'd snap your fingers, and then in a big radius around you, it'll apply the vulnerability effect, and it'll like deal big damage, you know? But the trick is, if you have all 6 of like your chargers and stuff, it would take longer to charge, but would instantly wipe out all enemies hit by the shockwave, you know? You basically have to have all 6 of your charges to do it. So make it slightly different from Wanda's ultimate. The caveat is, like, the damage only increases per stone charge that you have. So if you'd want to eliminate like a 300 HP hero, you'd need 3 charges. You'll also be left like unable to be healed for a while, like a few seconds. But the effects, you know, they grow exponentially the more charges you have. Again, you use all 6 and you're in like the prime position, you snap everyone out of the way. But it has that longer cooldown and build up to it, so you really have to set up for it, if that makes any sense. But yeah, that is my design for Thanos. Alright, so for my last concept, for my other Vanguard design, I'm going with the Sentry. Recency bias aside, when I actually looked into what the Sentry could do, it's surprisingly crazy. He seems pretty powerful in the comics. Even if they like change his powers up a little bit for Thunderbolts. So he'd be a Vanguard, but his gimmick is that he'd be able to swap. So think like Cloak and Dagger pretty much. Like you have your Sentry form and you have your Void form, you know? I'm gonna go over each form kind of separately, just so it can kind of make sense. For Sentry, like his Sentry form, he'd probably have this, it'd be kind of like Cloak and Dagger with Storm's passive. So think like you can swap between like your Sentry form and your Void form. So in Sentry form, allies nearby would get like a damage resistance in like an aura around him. But in his Void form, it'd be like a damage boost. Sentry is more defensive and the Void is more offensive. So Sentry would have like 2 super slow punches as his primary. It'd be a basic 2-hit combo just for like his primary. So he'd have his primary like 2-fist combo attack. His first ability, I'm thinking it could be like a flight. So maybe think like something like this. But he'd have like a charge attack where he'll grab an opponent and kind of scoop him away. So think like this charge mixed with like the Emma Frost kick. Grab them, you charge, and they take more damage if they're knocked into the wall. And then obviously his third ability is he swaps to like his Void form, which we'll go over now. In his Void form, I gave him primary pretty much like Venom's, where he has like the tendrils going out. Because like in the comics and stuff, he has like the tendrils striking and everything. Like you can just hold it and it'll just constantly be attacking. For Void Form's next ability, I'm thinking he'll shoot out like a little orb where, kind of like this, it'd probably be a bit smaller or a bit bigger. Basically the first enemy that gets hit with that orb can't be healed. Alright, so for his next ability, a Phoenix's teleport, where like you do the warp and it like vanishes, reappears, and does like an explosion where you land, not where it starts. So like you teleport, here's the explosion right below you, and it'd be like a very brief blind effect or something. I'm just kind of spitballing ideas here. Obviously balance and stuff has to be taken into account, that sort of thing. And then his other ability, he just swaps back to Sentry. Now the ultimate is something I kind of had trouble sorting out. So imagine like, and this might be a bit crazy, but bear with me. So when you do the ultimate, Sentry and the Void will like merge together, and they can send these like big projectiles out that will both do the fear effect we talked about before, like the same effect as the Void sort of effect, but at the same time, around the area where you activated it, your allies get the damage and defense buffs. And then at the end, in like a final blast, wherever you stand, you just detonate. But yeah, that's basically my Sentry concept. But yeah, that's basically gonna do it. Honestly, doing like these movesets and stuff was a lot of fun. Just like having to go to the character wiki pages and like doing the research part of it. And I'd love to do more of these like moveset concepts in the future. When I was starting this project, I designed a whole like Google Doc and stuff with these ideas in mind. Like Daredevil was on that ideas list, but then he came out, and so I still have some ideas for characters like War Machine, Nova. Who were some of the other characters I had? I was working on, I have a whole list, so like if you guys want me to do more of these, I have a whole list of ideas that I want to do. So just let me know, and I'll probably just pick from like the ones I'm most interested in. These were just kind of some that I had done a while ago. But let me know if you want to see more of these concepts, and yeah, I gotta get out of here, so I'll see you around.